this lesson, we'll go over two loops, the for loop and the while loop. For loop has three statements. First one is the declaration of the initial value. This is executed only once in the beginning. Second statement is the condition. This condition is checked after every iteration of the loop. Third statement is how much you increment or decrement the initial value to reach the condition in the second statement. This is done after every iteration of the loop. Let's look at it with an example. Make a new file and copy what is shown on the screen. The initial declaration after for does not have to be an I, but it is a general convention to use an I. What the example shown is doing is it is iterating the code inside the do block 10 times. I is equal to 1. For loop checks whether I is less than or equal to 10. If yes, we do what it says on the do block and increment I by the amount indicated in the third statement, which is 1. Now let's execute the code. You will see number from 1 to 10 as I was initially 1 and it was incremented by 1 until it reached 10. Let's try changing the initial value to 5, then execute. As I started at 5 and it was printed every time before it reached 10, the resulting values are from 5 to 10. But what if we changed how much it incremented by? Let's change the initial value back to 1 and the increment from 1 to 2. This means that I will start from 1 and end when it goes past 10 like before, but we will increase I by 2. Once executed, the result shows 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. When I was increased from 9 to 11, because it did not meet the condition, the loop ended and did not print 11. Hence, the number ends at 9. Our next topic is the while loop. But before we look at the example of the while loop, let's understand the concept of increment. Create a new file. Then declare the variable I. Give it a value 1 and print it. Then type I equal I plus 1, then print I again. Execute the code and you notice the first I is 1 and second I is 2. In programming, I equals I plus 1 does not mean left and right side is equal. It means that we're replacing the value on the variable on the left with the value on the right. So the way to interpret this is that the new I is what the I was until the previous line, plus 1, so in this case, 1 plus 1, which makes the new I 2. Let's do the same process one more time. Copy line 3 and 4 and paste it on the bottom, then execute. On line 1, I was originally a 1. Then on line 3, we added 1 to 1, so the I became 2. Then on line 5, we added 1 to the 2, so the I became 3. What if we wanted to add 1 to the I for 10 times? This is where the while loop comes in. Create a new file and copy what we have here. Now let's understand what we have here. We declared the variable I and gave it a value 1. Then we wrote while I less than equal to 10. This is exactly what it sounds like. We repeat the code inside the do block while I is less than equal to 10. Inside the do block, we print the value of I, and increment it by 1. Let's see what happens when we execute this file. We get every whole number from 1 to 10. On the first iteration, because I is less than 10, it prints 1, then make it a 2. 2 is still lower than 10, so it prints 2, and this continues until when I becomes 11. It is not less than equal to 10, so the loop ends. Just like we did with the for loop, let's try changing the increment from 1 to 2. We do this by changing I equals I plus 1 to I equals I plus 2, then execute. We receive 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, just like it did with the for loop. Loops are generally used when we have to repeat something many times or when something needs to happen in a pattern. Both of the cases are pretty common when you program IoT, or any other program for that matter. In the next lesson, we'll go over usage of functions. If you have any questions, please let us know on the Q&A board. Thank you.